Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. It's Thursday, May 9th, 2024. It's 11:30 a.m. We're here to discuss future plans for Shoshone County Sheriff's Office patrol vehicles. And I will turn it over to Sergeant Green and Under Sheriff Studsky.
Yeah, so just to kick it off, he's handled most of this. I've been gone quite a bit, but this is kind of the first just informational where we're sitting at with the new vehicles we got and kind of trying to come up with a plan for the future moving forward so that the process is easier to get vehicles and kind of what our plan is going to be to how many vehicles per year we're going to get and so on.
Okay.
And so we're just kind of right now just kicking off that first meeting to kind of get that plan in order so we don't go through the being a year or two to get a vehicle and then putting us even behind more. So,
okay. All right.
So these are the unfortunate numbers. So essentially after those 7 vehicles were purchased, only 5 were for patrol, obviously. Part of the tasking I was given was to go back through all our vehicles, see where we're at, what needs decommissioned, because there was a lot that needed decommissioned and costing us a lot of extra money, frankly. Because once, particularly patrol vehicles, get over roughly 110 to 120,000 miles, you start dumping massive amounts of money into these vehicles. And that was kind of what was happening towards the end there. The other unfortunate byproduct of this is that the vehicles that needed or were approved with those emergency funds took so long to get here that they ended up really not replacing a surplus. It ended up being on average 2 vehicles one year and 3 vehicles the next, or something along those lines. And the fact is, we have approximately 27 to 28 cars we need fielded at all the time. So if you do simple math, these cars get roughly between 15 and 20,000 miles a year. And that means we actually need, and I'll explain this number because I would like to lower this number, but 5.4 vehicles a year for that if you do the math out. However, there's obviously admin staff, there is other people as well, and the detectives don't drive as much. So I think we can get away with approximately 3.4 vehicles a year. In saying that, because of this backlog prior to me showing up, we're currently dealing with 13 cars that are over 100,000 miles. 10 of those are going to be over 140,000 miles in less than a year. When we were going through the last process, I pitched some ideas that I felt like we could save some money on in the future. One of those cars did come in, and Spokane was incredibly generous to us. They gave us a different car, which is way nicer, far nicer, frankly, for $1,400. It's a German car, so fixes are not fun. So I pitched to him and the sheriff already that the idea would only be to keep that car about 2 years, take it in, get it fixed to premium, to where one of our detectives can use that car. And then after those 2 years, I fully expect that even with fixing costs and a sale, it'll essentially end up being a free car for 2 years, is my guess. That's a projection, but I'd say that's a good projection. The rest of that insurance money we talked about before to buy another detective rig. So then right there, your detective unit is essentially going off of old funds and much cheaper than we could do any other way. The other one is switching the admin vehicles to not have all the outfit that everyone else has, because that saves roughly $20,000 per car as well. So to ease the blow this year, essentially we're pitching that we need a vehicle every 3 to 4 months for the next 2 years, but this year we could get away with purchasing either bare bones vehicles that just need essentially the emblems on the side for the admin staff, and could stretch out that fleet a little longer as we prepare for all these vehicles miling out in the next year and a half. So essentially it'd be 2 this year of cheaper vehicles, then 4 the following year, 2 years. And then we'd have to reevaluate where we're at. It's not a fun predicament we're in, but that is the numbers. And then also to touch on, so ISP, I believe, still miles their vehicles out at either 100 or 110,000. Kootenai miles it out and under 120 for sure. I believe even less than that.
Yeah,
and then Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls are trying to do similar. And the reason that I'm mentioning them out, it's not because we want to match them, it's because there's a reason they do it. So it's two prongs: safety for the officers getting to and from scenes of emergency situations and pursuits. When your vehicle's over 150,000 miles, becomes dangerous. So I understand we have harder financials than some of these other counties, but if we get over 150,000 miles, we kind of have to decommission those vehicles for the safety of the officers. So wherever the number is the county comes to, my suggestion is it can't be over that one for the sake of these guys. So we have, obviously, and then I was also going to touch on the vehicle list, since this can be misleading. Because I believe Peggy brought the question up before last time she was in here. It's like, well, why do you have 31 vehicles? Well, that's because 5 of these need commissioned tomorrow, and like there's one that grows one of our reserves. He just does the SRO. He's driving a vehicle that has 260,000 miles. So I mean, there's a few extra cars for sure, but they're not capable of driving. They're just there for like a couple of assets like that to get to and from a school type thing. And there's a few vehicles such as that, so we're working on decommissioning those. Also, just for future budgeting reasons, as far as adding a line to our actual budget for these could be helpful, but that was just an idea as well, because at the moment we don't have any budget line item for new vehicles as far as I'm aware.
Maybe because, are you guys starting to work on your budget? Because that'd be something to discuss with Peggy. Definitely need to.
Yeah, we've never had vehicles. We're never adding a budget. It was always something that was
Okay,
we need expenses. We need to get a vehicle, and we would meet with the commissioners and get approval to order a couple vehicles, and I don't know where it came from there, but yeah, kind of, and we want to avoid going through the whole process of like bidding out 3-4 vehicles at a time, and so what we're trying to establish is just a schedule of every 4 months or whatever that we get order a vehicle and not having to go through that whole crazy bid process of a $200,000 purchase.
We're not buying multiple at a time.
Yeah. But if you just kind of do it simply in your head, if there's 24 of us that need a vehicle and you only get 2 vehicles a year, that means I have to make my vehicle last 12 years. They won't last that long. So we've always done 2 vehicles a year in the past, and that's why we're so far behind. That worked when you had a dozen officers or whatever 20-some years ago, but it doesn't keep up now. So we got to look at increasing that.
One of the biggest problems we're going to have this year is our budget. And so I mean we're all going to really have to look at that, because we're just starting.
Yep.
So that's we don't know yet where exactly until we start the budget process. But I see, I understand the logistics of this and what your department's needs, and we're gonna we'll look at the budget. I mean, right now we're just getting started with it. Without a line item. So you didn't have a line item in there last year, so that'll be a new line item which will increase the budget. So that'll be something we'll have to, we're going to have to really, when we start going through the budget process. I appreciate your work on looking, going through the vehicle list, and I agree. Some of these vehicles are, some of them are not going to be surplus. They're going to be, you don't have, we got some that need motors and ones that need transmission. So we'll take a hit on those as well. But yeah, if we don't get to those points later on, like we agreed, we're going to actually have something worth selling. Yeah. Instead of waiting until the point where they're.
Yeah, we're just driving until they're blown up and not even drivable is what we've been doing.
Yeah. So, okay. But
no, we mainly just wanted to meet with you guys and kind of just inform you, like we're all right now, but in a year we won't be. So we gotta.
So you
5%
still
back, yeah.
we're getting them in, but we're not having to do the hot seat stuff anymore, right?
So we now just hit a moment where we don't have to do the hot seat. That's correct. And that's why I asked for this meeting, because with the mileage where they're at, we're going to have a far worse problem, particularly how long it took to get cars en masse.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be worse than it was this time at the end of next year, by far.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd start crunching your budget, look for all the revenue you can.
Mm-hmm.
There
That's
it
right.
was.
Yeah, it's never been in our budget, which was crazy. Seems
Mhm.
crazy, but it was.
I know,
Just,
it always came
Yeah.
out of capital expenses.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's the unfortunate news.
No, that's
Wish I'd better.
Good
no,
work, though.
and that's good that we look forward and we plan for. There's that we plan for this, and that's I'm glad you're looking into it.
Yeah.
And doing that and planning it, and which could also save us, like you said, in having to do getting bids, and if you have them all lumped together, it changes the
It does.
process. So
Yeah, big
I mean,
time. Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
would be
That was a nightmare. But
Exactly. And then the vehicle expense, we're going to go projected to go significantly over this year because these cars are all so old, and then next year would be, I don't know. So appreciate it.
Hey,
All right, that's
thank
all
you.
we got.
Thank you.
Any public comment?
Yeah, I just wonder if the state's paying anything for this. State police.
Not to us.
I just want to put it out there. It
Yeah.
irritates the hell out of me seeing
Mhm.
these guys on the freeway and watch.
Mhm.
I went to Spokane and there was two sitting on the freeway. Went to Spokane, had dinner, come back hours and hours later, and they're still on the freeway. And if the budget stays, if the numbers are as bad as they are, you'll have plenty of cop cars.
Yeah.
There's gonna be something has to be done. I'm not saying the numbers are gonna stay, I don't know, but if they are, the way they look, millions of dollars, and it's gonna come from someplace. That's my comment.
Yeah. Part of the officers on the freeway is through that grant, the grant we've been getting to emphasize
Oh, that's
from the
right.
state.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some of that is you're seeing those guys that are doing the emphasis. So
On the grant, yeah.
we get about $4,000 a month coming in on this grant for
So it
for
should,
doing seatbelt, aggressive driver,
Hours.
all that kind of stuff.
it should be hourly wages plus figure out the maintenance on the cost of the vehicle to be up there too. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So then on top of that, that is a good jump point. So if you're already on, like, for example, no calls are coming out, and you're already there, that actually can be the fastest response time is from that location.
I don't know how many you have on at night, but there was two on the east end or west end of the valley sitting, for 4 hours.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
How much revenue do you think you can get from the jail?
We're topped out.
Are you?
The jails, we're bringing in roughly $25,000 to $30,000 a month right now, but our jail is currently sitting at like 61 inmates. So we have like 13 people on the floor. We were up in the 70s a few weeks ago of inmates.
Wow.
So we're severely over capacity. So
I just think that gets overshadowed that there is money coming in against that. And
Yeah.
Forget about it. So it's good to have a
yeah,
number.
no, we're making a lot of money, but it's also at a cost
A cost, you bet.
to the that facility just can't handle that. And we don't even have our jail staffing is getting severely overworked. We're low staff.
Yeah, and then
there,
you
so-
have to have staffing for that many,
Yeah.
and then that costs more money.
Yeah.
I understand
So,
that. So,
all right.
well, I appreciate you guys coming
Thanks,
in.
guys.
I
Yep.
appreciate
Very
you
good.
doing this.
Thank you.
and Thank you for public comments, and we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting.